friends. So this, I'm just going to get straight into the point. Today I'm going to review the 33rd season of The Simpsons. I know I'm a bit late for this, but I don't care at all. So let's get straight into this review. Before getting into the good and the bad, I wanted to start with the Treehouse special. This year is Treehouse of Horror XXII, or Treehouse of Horror 33. Or 32, sorry. The Parasite parody should have worked, but it doesn't. I don't really know why. It's just kind of boring and unfunny. I barely remember the second one. That's how forgettable it was. And the short Bart one in between the third main segment and the second segment was actually really amazing. But the third one started off well, but after the dead girl showed up, it just fell apart. So yeah, this year was not great on the Treehouse of Horror front, as this is a pretty mediocre one, especially after last year's. Treehouse of Horror 31 was awesome. All three segments were great, and this one is Alright, so I want to start with the bad so that we can finish on a good note. This season didn't really have much to hate, but it did have one of the worst episodes of the entire show, in my opinion. The star of the backstage is the season premiere. I was not excited to see the rest of the season after sitting through this. It is dreadful. For one, Julie Kavner's voice is really starting to go. They hired someone else whose name I can't remember to sing in this episode when Marge should be. Yeah, this is a musical. The other issues are just in the joke writing. None of the jokes in the episode are funny. Other than that, most of the worst episodes of this season are kind of gleefully mediocre. Bart the cool kid is kind of charming, but not very good. The Ways We Were is just... It's just nothing. And I just kind of want to speed through a couple episodes that fall from the category of meh to mediocre to bad. So Portrait of a Lackey on Fire, I mean, I'm down for getting Smithers some romance plots and stuff, but genuinely, this one was just boring, and you knew it wasn't going to work out because status quo is God and all. Mothers and Other Strangers. Actually, I think this one has been attacked a little too hard. I don't like it very much at all, but it's okay. Yeah, it's just kind of boring, and it's kind of a little bit shameless to try and get some tears and stuff out of Homer and his mom, and also Grandpa as well. I feel like Homer's plots with his mom have kind of peaked after Forgive and Regret from season 29. But whatever. But it is pretty low for this season. The Longest Marge is super mediocre with that football player or whatever. That one was just awful. I did not like it. Pretty Little Liar is also something that I was not very fond of whatsoever. I like Cletus as a side character because he's funny, but genuinely, when the episode revolves around Cletus or one of his kids, solely, it's a call for usually something bad, and this year was no exception. God, my hair won't get out of my face. Literally, Jesus. Anyway, overall, the worst of this season wasn't nearly as bad as the worst of a lot of the other seasons. Even the worst of season 32 was Now Museum, Now You Don't, and Wad Goals, which were both really mediocre episodes. And the worst of season 31 was Marge the Lumberjill, which was also pretty bad. Overall, this season isn't awful, especially in comparison to a lot of more recent seasons of the show. The worst of this season is mostly just okay to mediocre with that one awful episode in it. Which is why I don't know how to finish that sentence, to be completely honest. Alright, for a season so late in the run of The Simpsons, this one was remarkably good when it got good. Bart's in Jail was pretty entertaining and had some good jokes. I've seen people attack this one a lot. Personally, I really thought it was entertaining. Lisa's belly was awesome. Like, Lisa getting self-conscious about her weight because Marge said, like, chunky, or, like, she's getting chunky or something. Like, that was a really cool commentary, and it was just it was a pretty funny episode, and it was a pretty good episode overall. Boys in the Highlands, an episode that was not meant to be said out loud, was a pretty cool episode with Bart, Martin, Nelson, and I believe the Bullies. So, and that was pretty good. I liked Bart and Martin's relationship in that episode. It was, yeah, I mean, I'll give that to it. You won't believe what this episode is about. Act 3 will shock you, which was a mouthful of an episode name, but was oddly entertaining for what it was. My Octopus and a Teacher was also funny and pretty entertaining. Girls Just Trying to Have Fun, like, the A plot is okay, but the side plot with Homer and Superintendent Chalmers making beer was actually kind of cozy and nice. I don't know if you get me. Marge the Meanie was a real treat for me because personally I'm a huge fan of the Bart and Marge episodes. It's a dynamic you don't see on the show very often, but when it happens, it's really nice. For instance, one of my favorite episodes of the entire show was Marge Be Not Proud from season 7, which is an amazing episode. Probably my top 10 of the entire TV show. And I'm also a pretty big fan of Marge's sun poisoning from season 17. Back to Marge the Meanie. This one does not disappoint. So basically, you find out that Marge was a troublemaker when she was a kid, and Bart and Marge bond over this, and it's really cool to see them have some fun together, pranking people. It ended really well. It was a pretty good one. And I'm not sure if this is an unpopular opinion, but I don't care. So, yeah. I really enjoyed Poorhouse Rock. Okay, I didn't really enjoy it, but I enjoyed it. I thought the musical number was pretty good, and overall, I found it just kind of a cool episode. It's not as good as the other musical episode they did back in season 15, which was The President Wore Pearls, which was like a much better musical episode. But when the whole last part of the episode was a musical number, it was actually pretty cool. I don't know what the general consensus is of this episode, but overall, yeah, I found it pretty entertaining. Yeah, that's what I found really entertaining. Poorhouse Rock. Okay, so I'm now going to mention the true greats of the season, in my opinion. A Maid Maggie is a really cool episode involving the mob and Maggie Simpson, and I really liked it. I'm going to try not to spoil too much, because if you're a fan of The Simpsons, then I definitely recommend these last episodes. So, A Maid Maggie's really good. The other one everyone was talking about this episode was A Serious Flanders. This episode was charming. Well, it was actually 2 episodes. It's a 2-parter, but I'm just gonna call it one episode because on Hulu, which is where I watched this season, it's all in. It's fucking. Oh, it's combined as one episode, and it's counting the 2 episodes that it was. Anyway, so it was a funny, charming adventure, and it's can't remember what show it's parodying, but it stands on its own because I really enjoyed it, and I've never seen the show it's parodying. Did I pronounce that right? Parodying? Whatever. The episode was a fun adventure and had some really cool character moments, some really cool conflicts. Like, almost everything about this episode was good. And so I 100% recommend watching it. But now, my favorite episode of the whole season, I think that sounded weird, of the whole season was pixelated and afraid. Without question. So I'm gonna try not to spoil too much, but basically, Homer and Marge get kind of lost in the jungle, and they have to try to get along and bond with each other about how to survive in the like wilderness in the winter, and until they can get out. And I loved seeing Marge and Homer, their relationships like in this episode. It was really good. It was a wonderful episode, and this is the episode I recommend watching the most out of any of the episodes in this entire season. Possibly tied with like uh, Marge the Meanie. Of course, I Made Maggie and a Serious Flanders and Lisa's Belly. But it was a wonderful episode. So, yeah. That's the end of the good, I guess. Overall, in my opinion, this season was really good. I really enjoyed it. I will forever say that seasons 31 to 33 are the best seasons we've had of this show in freaking years. So, like, I will stand by that forever. Season 33 had mostly fairly good episodes. The worst were typically pretty mediocre, but then there's one that is kind of the worst of the worst, which was the Star of the Backstage, in case you don't remember. But at its best, it was really an amazing season. So I think I'm gonna give season 33 of The Simpsons an 8.5 out of 10.